Let's look at a few ways we can use edible flowers in the kitchen for health and flavour. Firstly, one of my absolute favourites is chamomile. It's an annual flower, and this herb grows as a carpet. It's got beautiful white and yellow flowers, and we pinch those off, and that's the part we actually eat. So you sow your seeds in spring and summer, and when you're ready to collect the flowers, you simply take the top of the stem off and collect the blooms early morning, and then you dry them on a tray for about a week or so until they're fully dried in the shade. And this is what you get. Beautiful dried blooms. They are so fragrant, and we're going to make an easy herb tea. So simply take a pot. You'll see that the flowers have a little bit of the part of the stem there, and we just pop that in. I wish you could smell this, it's absolutely amazing. Pour in nearly boiled water. We don't want it to taste too bitter. We just allow that to steep for a few minutes, and if you like it a little bit stronger, you can give it a bit of a stir here, and we'll just let that brew. Simple as that. And while that's steeping for about 5 minutes, we'll look at how to use chives. Now, chives are part of the onion family, really mini little herbs to grow in a pot or in the garden, and they have so many health benefits. The flavour is amazing. So onion chives have a lovely oniony flavour, and so do the little blooms. They're very, very cute little pom-poms in a pinky purpley colour. And this is where we actually pull these parts off, just like that, and separate them. And this is what we're going to use to add flavour to this soup that I've made. So you just pull them all off. So even if you haven't used onion in a meal, you can definitely add that flavour. So you can add both the herb and the flower to any meal. Now the smell here is just beautiful because you can smell all the beautiful volatile oils that are being released as soon as the herbs are chopped. So now it's time to actually garnish the soup. So what I normally do will sprinkle those on. Now a teaspoon of these herbs offers so many medicinal benefits, and the flowers themselves have extra nutritional benefits that aren't even in the herb itself. How beautiful is that? So perhaps with a little bit of basil on the side, who wouldn't want to eat that beautiful soup? And the fragrance of the flowers actually enhances the taste buds, and it also gives us digestive enzymes. So make sure you use your herb flowers as a garnish for flavour to aid digestion when you're eating your meal. So let's go back to our herb tea. Now this won't be too strong, it hasn't brewed for long, but we simply pour that. Now chamomile tea is excellent as a sleepy time tea to aid stress. It's very calming. I used to use it in a bottle cooled for my daughter when she was a baby. This tea also is something that you can use during the day or just before bedtime. Chamomile itself is a wonderful companion to all plants in the garden. It gets friends with all the plants that it surrounds and actually makes them grow better. So make sure you look at growing chamomile in your garden. Let's talk about cleaning and preparing your flowers and what part of the flower you actually eat. So after picking these blooms first thing early morning out at Organica Floret Farm, we got them straight into the fridge because they're very delicate, and we've put them in one single layer, as you can see, in containers. Now that's really important because they're very fragile and they can easily be damaged, so you want to get them picked quickly and chilled quickly. The other thing is that any insects or caterpillars that might be hiding in any of the blooms, they will quickly come out because they won't like the cold. So they'll be easy to see. We don't want any extra protein in the salad. So then what we are looking at is what part of the actual flowers may need to get cleaned. If there are larger flowers with bigger petals, such as roses, you may want to give them a bit of a dip in water. They can get damaged quite easily because they're fragile, and water-soluble nutrients will leach out. So just a quick swirl in a little bit of water, just for a few seconds, is all you need. And then they're ready to basically plate up. Now, the interesting thing too is some flowers we're going to eat whole, such as our little nasturtium blooms, and others we'll just choose the petals. And these are the parts that sometimes are full of nectar and are very sweet. Some flowers have a lot of pollen, like these Chinese lanterns. Now, these blooms have a long stamen, which is the male part of the flower, and quite a lot of pollen. And a lot of people are allergic to pollen, so if you have hay fever or asthma, then you should remove this and just go very gently with eating edible blooms. And the stamen and the pollen also can make a flower a little bit bitter. So if you're not enjoying the flavour as you should, then just take those parts of the flower out. You can also remove the sepals, which is the base, and take that, and then we've just got this part of the bloom. And let me tell you, these Chinese lanterns taste delicious. They've got a gorgeous crunch and they taste just like lettuce, and they're perfect to go in any salad. And now for a few don'ts. Things that we really need to be careful of so that we're eating safe edible flowers. First one is, don't eat edible blooms from roadsides, parks, florists, nurseries or garden centres, because these are usual places where chemicals are used and sprayed in the raising of flowers or just when they're growing wild. Now, it also applies in our own home gardens. So if we're going to grow flowers, whether they're vegetables or annuals or perennials or any other kind of flowers that we're going to eat and put on the table, we need to make sure that they are totally chemical free, no sprays, totally grown organically for them to be safe. Now, the blooms that we picked here this morning at Organica Flora, they are a certified chemical-free farm, and they have no sprays used. They're totally safe to eat and they taste delicious. The other thing to be careful of is don't mix up growing edible flowers in your garden around ones that are toxic or poisonous and shouldn't be eaten, because you don't want to make a mistake and take a risk with your health. So the last little tip is, don't rush in and try to eat too many edible flowers all at once. Allow your digestion to gradually get used to it, and just start with maybe 1 or 2 flowers and add them and get started to assimilate that and get used to it. One of the easiest ways to enjoy edible flowers is simply dressing a salad with them. So I'm going to show you how to turn a really boring green salad into something really spectacular and super nutritious for you as well. So I've got a mixed green salad leaves here, just seasonally picked from the garden. Lots of colour in the leaves as well, and a little bit spicy, some of them not too bland. And here I've got some colourful different salad vegetables. There's already a rainbow of colour and different plant families in these ingredients, so I'm going to add these into the salad. So just some carrot, which is a root vegetable, sprinkled around, some purple cabbage, which is incredibly healthy for us, and of course that's in the brassica family. That adds a really beautiful pop of purple and pink and lots of crunch. Next we're going to have our yellow capsicum, which is delicious, adds lots of vitamin C to the salad as well. And then we want to mix up another member of the Solanaceae family, which are our little tomatoes here. Get some red in there. They're packed with nutrition and flavour. And finally, we're going to add in a member of the curcubit family, cucumber. So sprinkle those in as well for a little bit of green, and then we get to be creative with our edible blooms. So once you're happy with your salad, now we can play. And we're going to introduce some of the most beautiful flowers around the outside, so we can garnish with some of these Chinese lanterns, which are spectacular. quite large, you can use your little chrysanthemums and some of the cosmos around the outside as well. More chrysanthemums, add a little bit of colour from there. We've got the cranberry hibiscus, which is absolutely stunning as well. Maybe even a few rose petals if you want to just use the petals and not the whole bloom. And got to get some dianthus in there. These are just little stunners. They're quite show-offy. And these are some of the most nutritious, the violas and the dianthus. So let's get some of those in, some snapdragons, a few geranium petals. Get creative, sprinkle in what you like, and once you're happy, look at those. Some coriander, little delicate flowers there. So we've got our herbs, we've got our salad greens, we've got all our vegetables from different plant families, and something that looks stunning on the plate. And when we eat with our eyes first, who wouldn't want to eat a salad like that? Another couple of easy ways to use flowers every day at home is to make an edible bouquet. I gift these to friends and family all the time. You can take some cuttings from your herbs or your flowers. I've got parsley in here, some beautiful kale leaves, whatever seasonal, and grab some flowers as well. We've got the beautiful perennial basil. Put a bunch together. You can bunch it up, wrap it up and give it to friends, or you can actually pop some in a vase and enjoy them indoors. Not only the fragrance and the colour, but you can also use these on the dining room table and actually pull the flowers off and dress your salads right on the dining room table. Another final way is to make beautiful edible ice cubes. These are just stunning. You need to boil your water 2 or 3 times and let it cool so that you don't get cloudy ice blocks, and then just layer some flowers into the ice, and then they look spectacular when you're adding them for special occasions to drinks, and you get the benefit of delicious flowers as well. So you can mix them with fruit or just put the blooms in on their own. And here, this one was calendula, and you can see it's actually added quite a bit of colour as well. So you can even use them as natural colouring. So what a great way to enjoy edible flowers. I'm ready for another cup of chamomile tea. Well, I hope you enjoyed the tips and are inspired to use edible flowers at home and in your garden.